Hey dudes, it's your friend, the Reverend Pirate Frog. Come join me in the circle with my bearded brother, Howlingbuds, the poet laureate himself, Stoney Alpinist, and of course, the better half of Frapple and my friend, Johhny Apple. Pass to the left and let's have some fucking fun.
You need them.
That's a good question. In case no one heard that, Charles, our guest, welcome. This is the circle. But he asked, where's Johhny when you need him? It's a very good question. This episode, we're going to dive in depth on how Johhny has failed us. Thank you for joining, Howling.
He gets a couple chickens and he gets to bow out of this? What the fuck?
It's ridiculous. Stoney, thank you for joining us in this investigative look at why Johhny has let us down.
I'm just a broken piece of... I miss him. You know, it's not here.
Well, you can't, when we're talking about how he let us down, you can't lead with,
oh, sorry.
Miss him.
My bad.
Anywho, welcome to the circle. That was a terrible premise that went too long. But our guest today is the one, the only artist for YAG, Charles Budkowski. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you being strong-armed into joining us when we please.
Yeah, you guys
got
have
a bunch
evidence on me.
Yes, well, we're never letting that go. Come on. Why do you think we get such killer art? Speaking of which, I want to start off the episode. I received a package from you. And if I was so obliged to get on camera, you would see that I'm showing it right now, but I refuse on principle.
Nice.
Yeah, mostly because
he didn't say he wasn't wearing it. That's the questionable part.
Hardly wearing anything. Anyhow, the package that I received had 2 original pieces of artwork that you have done. I believe that brings the grand total of like 150 for YAG. But I wanted to say thank you, and I'm getting a frame so that I can put it on the wall, and more people will see it. So I appreciate it.
Hopefully everyone...
I mean, it's a frog surfing on an earth box. That's pretty badass.
Yeah. I thought I came up with that before artificial intelligence was a thing, but it feels like something the art of blah blah would do.
Yeah, no, I think that's, really complimenting yourself there, Chuck. I think it's slightly better. I think it's way cooler than something that a computer could do. But the second thing that you sent was a wonderful taste of your RBX.
Allegedly.
Well, and by sent, I mean we met up. We live in the same state, dude.
Yeah.
I just went to the park. It was fantastic, man. You grow a mean plant, but you were saying that was probably one of your favorites in private conversation.
Yes, and that's what I brought in for me tonight as well. But that is definitely a special plant. At least that one that I grew out there. I'm pretty excited to grow it again.
Yeah, you grew an absolute beast, man. It was an impressive grow. That tent was popping.
Yeah, I lucked out. It's kind of like the perfect weather, I guess, for me is right around fall here in California. So I kind of just, I'm in the garage, so I kind of have to go around those specs and then work from there.
I've got a tangy that's about 3 days away from harvest. And it's with dynamite, giant buds on this thing, and it's unique. It's not like any tangy that I've smelled. There's something really complex about it. How long did yours go? How long did you take yours?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head, actually. It went a little bit on the longer side, though. Really? Probably in the 90s, I think.
Really?
They were pretty tall, and I just kind of wanted to let them go as far as I could.
Yeah, mine are starting to
is it the 2.0 that you're growing?
Mm-hmm. The RBX.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, and
I did the RBX and the 2.0 next to each other.
I did the 2.0 the last run before the RBX was the follow-up, and yeah, man, I can't wait.
I have a complaint because I grew the RBX.
You? No. Time out. Stop the world.
Settle in.
What the fuck? So I grew to RBX and I loved it. It smells great, but you can absolutely tell for me, what grew out is tangy. Like that, it wasn't what people describe RBX, and it was tangy. It looked like tangy. It smelled like tangy. I have to admit that I had a cone of it, and it was quite nice. And I actually smoked the whole cone, so it was quite nice.
How
But everything about it was tangy. And
long
then I
did it take you?
Yeah, I don't want to say.
A week.
So you know what? It was
This
finished
is an
in a
audio
night.
podcast.
All right.
There you go.
He smoked the whole cone, but it took a week. What?
No, it was only a night, but it was one of those dog walker cones. So it was a tiny
man.
little thing.
We just had an excellent guest on. Who was probably one of the most expert people who have ever been on this podcast. No offense, Chuck. But he was also a I hesitate to say lightweight because of its negative connotations. I don't want to make you sound like you're a biggity bitch, Howling, but
It was
a fellow
sensitive.
lightweight. Yeah, that's the way to put it.
Sensitive.
Oh, look at that!
It felt
Like,
good finding
That kind of
someone-
pun play is far
Kindred
too good for this
spirits, dude.
podcast. You watch yourself.
Kindred spirits.
Like I finally found someone where we could like smoke together and try to figure out who is going to get more stoned than the other because we're just kind of right at the same level, and that does not happen often. Usually, I get smoked under the table. So
It would be the golf version of a smoking competition, like who gets highest the quickest off the littlest.
I
don't know that-
can't help it, but you know, it works out for
No,
it works out for me in the stash, but I have to stop growing so much.
No, I will say, I think if you could give any person who smokes daily the option of low tolerance or high tolerance, I would imagine anyone who grows or purchases would be like, give me that low tolerance, baby.
I want moderate tolerance. I want enough where I can enjoy
You don't want to be
process.
greening out.
Like, but like smoking a joint, like it would be nice just to sit back with that for a little bit, listening to some music, enjoy the entire thing, and not have to like relight it or anything or get up. It would be nice to have that experience, but for me, it's like puff, puff. All right, I'm out. Like I'm done for the night. It's like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's not communal. It's not social. It's not like
The cheapskate in me is just enthralled with the idea of that. I'm so happy for you.
Like you go and you take the dog for a walk and burn one and you get to enjoy your moment, how long, maybe 10, 15 minutes or whatever it is. No, I can't even, it's not even worth taking the dog for a walk. It won't last long enough.
Yeah, I would be a different person if I didn't have my dog walk and my joint, but I would also have a lot more weed, so it's like kind of a happy trade-off. But Chuck, what do you got
Howling.
going in your tent now?
I just want to say, Howling, I was in your shoes before when I was around 25. I think I said on the last podcast.
Back when I was a little,
I used to
little
share. I used to
25,
split
so
an
that
eighth
was
with my cousin.
before the wheel.
I think so.
It was, before 9/11. That's
Yeah.
for sure. But that's sorry. Anyway, if you keep working, you really apply yourself, you'll be able to like smoke an eighth a day in a couple years.
I will
get
strive
there.
for that.
With real strong work ethic, you too can be a degen like the rest
Yeah.
of
I
us.
just got to put in the work. I get it.
You can significantly worsen your financial situation.
That's
But
pretty
yes,
good.
practice makes perfect. But Charles, I must know.
Yeah.
What's in the tent now?
In the tent, we have the Wedding OG. That was actually the first seed I ever bought from the green guy, but like the fourth plant I've grown from him. I don't know, it took so long, but I wanted to grow that one the most. And finally getting around to it, and it's a beast, despite my best efforts and environment. And then also the Strawberry Wolf. I planted that because my my Cosmic Queen, no fault of the seed, got stunted, so I needed a backup. And
I see that.
And I also have a cool plant that Howling gave me a seed for
I'm really
my
curious.
first
about this
photo
one.
period. I'm excited for it. I actually set the plant to flip tonight on the little digital timer, which I've never done before. And it just popped on like its normal time. So I'm going to have to figure that out tomorrow.
And that's the one that's in the city picker with the scrognet.
Yes, yeah, picker and a
Oh.
scrognet.
Yeah. So I'm
What seed
super
was it?
thrilled to watch this. It's communion.
Oh, okay.
And so I blessed that seed with positive vibes. I said I needed a homie to grow this before I would even touch any of those seeds again. And it's looking wonderful. I think this thing is going to explode.
I'm excited for it. It really satisfies because I'm always getting to mess with it, and I haven't been messing with my my autoflowers for like the last year and a half, maybe, because I feel like for me it always
Scratches
messed
that
them
itch.
up. Yeah, so it scratches the itch. I get to go in every day and abuse it, and it responds great.
Oh, we're gonna convert you to photos. Watch out. Once you get a
It's
taste
possible. It's definitely
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, yeah, I hate to say it. I think I'm going to do a photo run here soon, too. I was talking to BGG about his last drop, and then there's some other stuff. But for the sake of this show, I refuse to give Howling any amount of joy.
I
So
think
unfortunately,
you need to grow
Charles,
Super Sun God. I do think you need
yeah,
to grow that one.
well, that was the conversation.
Well, it's
But-
also
Tangy photo.
Yeah, and the tangy
Yeah.
photo. See,
yeah.
I've got and then Association for Free Weed, who just gets more and more shout outs by the day, it seems, was hitting me up last night like, oh, I have this cut. If only you had space, you need this cut. And I'm like, Jesus, dude, like, it's not what you want to hear when you just started planting plants and you're like, oh, like, oh, well.
So-
Next time.
I'm curious, so going through the process of growing a photo so far, you just flipped. So you got through veg, and the plant looks awesome. Did you get over your worry, or are you still scared about photos?
I'm not scared about them at all. I still need to improve my ventilation because usually I'm just using the the bottom screen type things.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna have to use some ducting, I guess, because my 2x4 is kind of limited on those ducts, I guess. So I'm gonna have to figure out a little light trap for that, I guess. I got pretty much ideas for it.
You'd be surprised how much light doesn't get into those tents, but that's why I actually just bought. I mean, it's not an economical option of getting rid of the light problem, but I bought those inline filters for going inline. It just takes a furnace filter, and there's
Okay.
enough bends in it between the way that the duct comes in and goes through the filter and stuff. Light will not reflect enough to get into my tent.
Okay.
So I'm retrofitting all my tents with that now because I think I have light stuff. But I mean, you grew a great plant, and if that was all you really kind of had to think about, I mean, what are you worried about flower? Is there anything? Or are you just gonna? I mean, I
I'm
guess
not
it's
really
asking how
worried.
much do you know is going to come in flower?
So I did do one photo period last year, but it turned out really small.
Yeah,
And I still flipped it anyway because I was just kind of losing patience and it was gonna get hot, I think. So no, I'm pretty excited. I'm expecting. They say it's gonna double, so I think that will fill the screen and then start going up.
yeah. I was
And,
just looking at it. Yeah.
We'll see. It's under that CMH right now too, 315 watts.
Oh, you have it
so,
under one of them. Oh,
yeah, just kind of
nice.
for a temperature thing.
Yeah. But I like the side branching that's on it. I'm seeing that come on. That'll go out wide.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Cool. Well, I am super thrilled at watching this grow. I am hoping for the best luck for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I did that.
I'm thinking about eventually. I don't know if I would change the light to LED depending on the temperature. I don't know if I'd want to do that right as it's hitting flower, so it doesn't freak out mid flower. Could that be a concern?
Well, you're changing out spectrum, heat. You're changing a lot of variables.
Yeah, the spectrum
Because
and the
you're
heat.
going from the spectrum, because you said it was a CMH.
Yeah,
So that's bluer than
Yeah.
what a full spectrum LED tries to do. And and then the heat, that's a real thing. That's a variable when the leaf surface temp. I mean, not only the temp in the tent, but it's actually heating those top leaves quite a bit. So it's a little bit of a shock. If you just flipped, you may want to, if you're going to make that switch, you may want to make it soon. So that way they can recover during stretch. I don't know what others think. I think that's kind of people they switch from metal halide to HPS when they go into flower. I don't know what it's like to switch to LED because that behaves a bit differently.
maybe I'll leave it. It was a pain to get in there.
There's some people that do, like I know that's Mass Medical's whole, like some of his side businesses, metal halide, and he does it from beginning to end. It's metal halide. So
You
I don't
know,
think there's
there
any
is something
bad
to be
thing.
said about finding out.
Yes.
You've done so
Yes.
well so far, but what happens if we just find out?
Yeah,
that'd
I'm
be
done
terrible.
finding out. I
Yeah.
I need the medicine in the jars.
Yeah,
found
the
out
head
all kinds of
stash is.
stuff. I don't.
Well, and I mean, you've only done one other photo period. I'm the same way. I did one run, and for me to change a bunch of variables on my second round of it, like I think I made it through the first round, and I was pretty happy with what I came down with, but it wasn't at all like what the plant's potential was, and I really didn't know what I was doing. And you know, I mean, those are a lot of variables to change. So
Yeah,
if you're gonna listen
I
to the
think I'll
brains,
probably stay where it is now.
yeah.
My best option.
Well, you got the brilliance above me here, so I mean, if there's anyone to trust on this one, yeah, it was fun watching him cook there. It's like watching one of us in the kitchen, just watching his
Stoney,
brain move.
did you become deeply religious? Because on the audio podcast, it doesn't make any sense what you said about it, have you?
Duly noted. On screen,
Praise the Lord. It will help you grow. I dig it.
For those listening, it's Howler's above me on screen with us now, and watching his brain work with the lighting and.
I didn't even understand that didn't make sense. That's funny.
Well, you see,
I wasn't the only reason why I wasn't looking at the screen because I was smoking. So I was like, when Stoney get real Jesus-y real quick, Lord help above will help grow those photos, Chuck. Let me tell you.
Nice.
Now, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the sips, and you've been using trash bags as covers.
Yes.
And a lot of people mock Johhny because he does it, and it's haha funny Johhny. But I think ultimately it works extremely well, and it's about as cheap as you can get. Have you found the results to be? I mean, from the plants I've seen, obviously, there's action happening underneath it, right?
Yeah, there's definitely action happening. I like the sips better than the. I'm sorry. I like the trash bag tech better than the straw tech because I did that too. I went and bought some of that straw, and it is just such a pain to like scratch in that top dress if that's what you're doing. You gotta like move the straw out of the way, put that in. Kind of. Lately, I've been putting a little bit of soil over my top dress too, so I feel like that kind of helps out. Just like a little like handful of dusting, and then but with the trash bag, all I gotta do is roll it up. Drop that down and put it on, and it's really awesome. It's pretty easy.
I had lofty goals of putting some panda film down on mine. I've got like a small 10-foot square or whatever. I was like, oh, it'll last me forever. I'll just cut out squares and kind of lay it over it, and then get the white reflective. But it's trash bag tech. It's a heavy plastic material. You know what I mean? And you're just trapping air and heat and warmth, and the black actually absorbs some heat. So I think there's always good discussion around, how much does it help fuel? If you're in a really hot soiled zone and you've got a lot of sun that's creating a lot of heat, or a lot of light in your tent that's creating a lot of heat, then there's possibility if it's black, But yeah, I think it's probably more attuned if you're outdoors,
I was kind of thinking like the same thing, but with the white bags, how like it might be able to reflect a little bit of light back up, like maybe.
Yeah,
it's been good either way. I definitely gonna just use the trash bags going forward. I use these compactor bags. They're a little bit thicker than the regular bags, and they don't seem to have any kind of like fragrance, which everything seems to have nowadays.
True. Weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw some toilet. I bought some toilet paper.
Good.
And on the back of it,
that's crazy.
First time ever. Isn't that a crazy story? At Costco. No, anyway. But on the back of it, it said non-scented. And I noticed that today, and I went, wait, is toilet paper scented enough to where you have to distinguish that it's non-scented?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of scented toilet paper.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, the funny thing is they use terpenes, so.
Nice.
naturally occurring.
Somebody out
terpenes.
there is craving growing a plant that smells like scented toilet paper. Terps.
It kind of makes
That's
sense.
terrible.
Like
Yeah,
if you get
it's
like
not-
a roll of paper towels, all paper towels smell the same. There's no
Mhm.
sense to that. But toilet paper, there's a distinct scent about toilet paper that you just like when you
Yeah.
think about it, you can imagine this scent. And I am curious now if that. I always thought
my
that was like
mind
a
went more
natural
like
thing. It's like
as people wiping their ass with cinnamon scented fucking toilet paper or shit. That's where my mind went.
Cinnamon
like
Toast
pine
Crunch.
Salt. Yeah.
Well, I've
Cinnamon
never
Toast Crunch
seen
Brawny.
that. So now I'm curious: is the toilet paper scent authentic from whatever materials, or is it an injected scent? Now
It's
I'm curious.
an injected.
No,
See,
you're ruining everything. No,
Again, my mind goes, could you
So I
imagine
feel
having a
like
bad
they had a
reaction to
cinnamon
some
toast
scented toilet
crunch.
paper?
cinnamon toast crunch.
Yeah, I
toilet
feel like that
paper.
wouldn't be good for you. Like, I don't really want to put any kind of like
I don't know, man.
sense
It's
on like.
what are you
Really?
gonna put? Grape?
When you think cinnamon toast
Pineapple?
crunch, your first thought isn't health. See, I always
feel
go,
like I can
damn.
taste it.
Yeah.
No, it's all subtle, and sometimes the practice is used to cover up like oil smells and mechanical smells of production and manufacturing too. So like the garbage bags.
Well, I can promise you it doesn't fucking work because nothing covers the smell of manufacturing in my goddamn shop,
True.
whether I want it or not.
Yeah.
But I use the same covers that came with the earth boxes. I'm running on a lot of them, and I've ripped a hole pretty fairly large so that I can kind of keep using the same one and fitting the plant in it. So I have one of those hydroponic net basket covers that come with the net baskets. There's black and then reflective on one side, and I put those around the base. Probably does absolutely nothing, but I always put them reflective side up, like Chuck, thinking, hey, maybe an extra ray or two might bounce up there. It's highly doubtful, but you know, you can trick yourself into doing silly things. But
go ahead.
There's always another option, and Howling did that other option. Then you can do the Howling Tech and buy a fancy cover, and that works just as well too. So really, all you need is a mulch.
Yeah, I got really baked one time and was like, I saw a square of like plexiglass, clear plexiglass that I had. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool to just make it right over the top, completely like into a little greenhouse? Just drop the humidity back down, and you could just watch all the life happening on the inside of it. I got pretty close to finding a square that would fit, but then I ended up getting the Panda film. So,
would it not magnify? Magnify at a higher level.
Think of a greenhouse, right?
Yeah,
it's just it'll take the moisture to the top, or at least this was my stone theory, right? So if you're looking down into it, the moisture that's going to evaporate will collect and drop back down into the soil.
No, that's true. I wasn't talking more about like you would lose, I mean, a little bit to evaporation in general, but more about killing microbes and stuff. Like, don't we want to encourage darker places to allow that to break down faster? I feel like if we were magnifying it with light, I could be wrong. This is just my thought. But the forest floor generally works the best way it does because it's kind of been blocked by the sunlight, right? And helps things break down.
But that dirt, the light's blocked pretty shallow in the dirt. I don't know this for a fact, but
that's true. Yeah.
So your microbial action, which is where you're, right at the surface are those feeder roots, right? Because the taproot goes straight down to find the water, and then it creates the lower base of that, kind of like the watering essence, and those grab it, and then the upper 12 to 14 inches is where all of the feeder roots are happening, and that's why everyone goes after the earth box tech of the covering it, because they're trying to feed that top like quarter inch, half inch of the roots. Well, that same root system is like 95% of the way underneath that, and so all of those are being fed. So as long as you've got good microbial action that's going down, which I think is drainage, I think what you're losing from any sort of light contact at the surface of it is nominal relative to all of this stuff that we're putting into that top dressing that's making its way down the first 6-8 inches, which is where the worms and all that action is happening too, and why we use those red wigglers that stay in that top 8 to 10 inches of the soil. At least that's my stone theory.
Yeah, no, I believe you. It's
totally stone theory.
I
Well-
follow the philosophy of hide your shame always. So I just cover and cover with
Cover
garden
your
hose
shit.
every
Yeah.
aspect of my life. Yeah, we've gone so far sideways. I don't even remember what we were asking. But Howling, you had some questions that you mentioned pre-show, so let's get into some of them. Put you on the spot to remember them.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the one is this whole wheatgrass thing. So like I was starting to watch videos. I know you guys have talked about Captain Matt and I think it's Captain Matt. Matt.
Yeah, if it's at Matt, if it's an M1, it's Matt. If it's
Yeah.
I think yeah.
And so like
Captain
he
Sean.
started talking about feeding his bins with wheatgrass. And so I was like
Mhm.
watching him like this makes total sense because it's nice just to flip that damn thing on there and just let it ride for a bit. But I know that you and Johhny enjoy doing that as well. So I sprouted the grain and then I just put it on some Pro Mix today. So we'll see what happens. But like, I'm just curious, like, what are the benefits of this? Besides that, it looked like worms love it. Like, I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Okay, so I was actually taught this trick by the guy that operates the worm farm by me that I got my first round of worms from. He primarily does everything outdoors. It's an allotted park from this great park, right? Like it's just this allotted. There's like a food farm and like science lab, and then also a worm farm. He sells all kind of input. Real cool thing. Went to buy worms, and he was the only one there, and he gave me a rundown and started talking about it. And the reason that he uses it, like you had listed, is it feeds the worms. It offers them a place to live and breed, and it protects them from predators in his environment, because in his environment outdoors, he has to deal with birds. He has to deal primarily with rats and squirrels, especially the fucking squirrels around here, man. But so he uses it a lot because it gives it another bit of protection. It helps keep direct sunlight off of the soil. It works as a mulch. And a really good thing it does is it buys you time. So you can sprout it relatively quickly. A couple days, you get a fairly decent mat going. You've turned it upside down and they are fed, and it works also as they're bedding as it breaks down and as it's as they're eating it. So you're kind of solving two problems with once. Like if you are worried that your bin is too wet, you can throw down some of those mats and you don't water them, right? But it'll kind of even it out and work its way in. If it's too dry, you can throw that down and water the top fairly decent, and it'll kind of self-regulate itself better. It gives them food and shelter and a place to breed. So if you've got a place or a bin that's you want to get established, it might not be the best because they do got to eat it, but at the same time, if it's a fairly decent sized bin, it kind of solves a lot of needs, and you can kind of let it sit for a little while. And those are all some of the benefits. It's inexpensive, and it's really easy to germinate and just get mats. You can get mat after mat after mat.
I mean, I will say, I think that the bag, I bought whatever I found on Amazon, and I think it was the hard winter red wheat berries, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like $20 for this bag, and from what I measured out just to do a small little tray of it, I mean, this thing will last quite a long time. So it is absolutely cheap, but I like the fact that I think what I struggle with is balancing slow and fast decomposing things.
Yeah.
So either I bias towards like, oh shit, here's a crap load of green cannabis material, just go eat at it, versus like, here's a bunch of strawberries and bananas, which they're going to chew through pretty quick. And so I don't think quickly. I balanced that well. And I think that the wheatgrass mat, it seems like the grass that actually grows would be pretty quick for them. But then like there's this mat that they have to just get into, and just it's all the roots and everything that they have to so it kind of like seems like it'd be that balance. So maybe it's kind of like when a grower finds sips and they figure out the watering.
Yeah, and it blows
your mind. It feels like this
is
the worm bin problem of fast and slow. Like
and another great thing that I didn't mention, and I think it goes to your point in feeding, is you never like when people are setting up bins, they overfeed a lot. Because
Yeah.
until you know how much your worm bin feeds, you how much it eats, you can really overfeed it quickly, and then you get all the things like fruit flies that and it'll eventually kind of work itself out. If it doesn't, you're screwed, but you reset. But with a worm, with the mat of wheatgrass mat, you can kind of gauge how much they eat, and also it's not going to rot. It's just most of the times that I've put it in my worm bin, it just flourishes and grows, even if there's not light. It's very hardy. So you can kind of gauge how much your bin is eating without overfeeding and worrying about it.
And I think, I mean, in the end, it's maybe, from what I know, it's like 2 minutes of work from beginning to like soaking berries to actually having a mat that you're putting in the bin. I will spend less than 5 minutes on this damn thing.
I will tell you my exact procedure. Sorry, Stoney, and then I'll let you go. It is this simple. I take shredded paper or cardboard, whatever is closest to me.
Yeah.
I put it in a I happen to have a little tray that is the exact same size as my worm bin, so that one mat covers it all. I put down a layer of wheatgrass seeds on top of the either cardboard or paper. I put water into it to soak it all up, and then I walk away, and it germinates in the next couple days, and the roots mat completely. And then I take that and I flip it and put it upside down on the worms. I will say that there are two things immediately that you need to know. That is very not nutritious, and you're not going to get much from the worm castings from that. If you want to improve that, you put the wheatgrass into a medium that actually provides nutrients so that it can take some of that nutrients and grow. Or you can add certain things, like you can add kelp meal on top of, you can mix that into your mat itself. And that that it breaks down through that. So when I do one when it's just in the paper, and I just throw that in there to kind of gauge how my bin's doing, the next one I do, I will either plant so that it has nutrients and let it grow for a few days, or I will add in what I want, like kelp or craft blend, or all the kind of stuff into the soil, into the paper.
And this is the secret to how he grows those beautiful plants.
Yeah, I think that's where I was going. That's where I was going with. I was going to touch base on was that wheatgrass in itself is highly nutrient dense, and so
I won't juice it. You will not convince me to juice
it.
No.
My point was the worms gotta love it for consistency as well. I mean, it's nutrient dense. They know where it's at. When you have those sugars and all those acids that are breaking down, it changes their biome as well. So I have to imagine that there's the benefits to, like Howling, I heard you say that you've got it started on some Pro Mix, and there's ways to like actually work nutrients into the worms, right? So that they're turning that, and just make sure it's like foundationally you understand that the worm is processing all of those nutrients and breaking them down and making them bioavailable. That's like the term for it, right? Is it moves through the worm, and the bioavailability is increased because it's broken down by the worm, right? And that's in the castings, and that's all of those sorts of things. So you're literally like feeding the monster that destroys everything and then churns it out its ass, and that's exactly what we need to throw into our plans. So
and it's super fun if you get to a stage where, like, I have several bins that are fairly small. I can't remember the tote size. I'll remember that shortly. But in each of those bins, I started with the neutral wheatgrass and kind of got them all to a certain level that they have a decent amount of castings coming through there. But then I tailored one. One will get a lot of fruits and stuff like that, and things that will kind of make it so that with the ultimate goal of having castings for flour and castings for fish.
That's awesome. Brilliant.
It's a lot of work, and I would not recommend it unless you really want to follow through with it, because you got to stay on top of it, right? Like, Clackamas gets all of the regard for his castings because of the process that he follows, and that is ultimately my goal, is to just have a big enough tote where I can follow his leaf mold and all of his alfalfa and all of that stuff, and just let it sit. Because then once you sift that, you have castings for a long time, and their quality, right? And you can use that in lieu of your compost to do your own soil, like he does. Like, there's just so many options. It is just a lot of work if you don't have the space to just let it sit So I'm doing it on a much smaller scale that is getting me grow to grow, but that's about it right now.
You mentioned something I'm going to end up doing is, like, if you talk to agronomists and they talk about soil health, they cannot stop preaching about good castings and where they came from and what developed them. So like there's some people like they set up like the cheap cardboard bin with some worms and they toss some shit at it and they might get castings in the end. But like the true castings is not just about the worms. It is about, like in Rev mentioned, it's like leaf mold and stuff. It is going to your forest and grabbing a scoop full of dirt, some moldy ass leaves, and starting that as your worm bin and give the worms that rather than whatever other bedding that you might come up with. And I'm going to try that soon, like, because we're going to thaw out next week. So I'm surrounded by forest preserves. So I think me and the dog are going to take a backpack and go see what we can get into.
You know,
I'm
you're
gonna
one
get some
step away
sloppy
from
shit
an
from the
IMO
forest.
box.
Yeah, I have thought about it. It may happen. I don't know yet. I'm pretty scared. Like, anyways, I'm scared about subject. Like all like the mold issues and stuff that you don't want. Like, but maybe at some point. But at least right now, I can go get a scoopful of leaves as they're thawing out from under the snow. Get a scoopful under a tree from one of the forest preserves around me, and I think I'm gonna start up a plastic tote worm bin using that to start with. Yeah.
What another thing I forgot to mention is you can also, like, what I do on my patio is I don't have much space to grow a lot, like certainly not enough to feed me or anything. Like I'm doing this hot sauce competition thing we're doing, and then the other things that I grow, I have comfrey and I grow a lot of alfalfa so that I can put my own grown alfalfa into the worm bin specifically. Like I grow a bunch of stuff on my patio just to feed the worm bin so that the worms can eventually digest it and process it so that in the future I can use that on my grow. So it's a long process, but it's at least something that I know the benefits work, right? Because it's pretty much all I use nowadays.
I can't wait.
Here's where you tell me
worm
it's
bin
expected
starts,
and that it's not just shit.
How far along is yours, Chuck?
I'm sorry, what's that, Stoney?
How far along is yours?
You know, I think I got it about 2 months ago, and I just used the worms that were already in there, so I'm not sure. I don't think that should be like necessarily a problem, but it's out on the side of the house and it's cold as heck around here. It's not cold. I shouldn't say that. You know, but it's my cold is like 50, 45 degrees. So maybe they're just not active right now.
Yeah,
because of that.
Yeah, they will only breed in optimal conditions, so they won't necessarily have like a mass die-off. For breeding, I believe, I could be wrong. I'm just off the top of my head. I think it's like a minimum of 70 degrees.
So maybe, okay. So I have to increase. The room that they're in is like 63, and I'm wondering why I'm not getting like explosion and growth.
Yeah, it's the temperature of the soil, and I think it's 70 to like, I'm probably wrong, but it's fairly high, and it's like optimal moisture too. Like it's a lot more moist than you would think generally. And you give them lots of sugars and they will breed like monsters and self-regulate. So Chuck, when it gets up to temperature and you feed them some sugars and get them some of the stuff that makes them happy, they will regulate to whatever size container you are. It just does take a while if you start off. Like I had a mass die-off in one of my breeding rows and in one of my worm bins that I made a flow-through worm bin out of a trash can. And I had a mass die-off in that, and I tried to recover from it, and it was so slow and stuff that I just had to kind of shut it down and start the breeding again. But they will eventually. It's just not as fast as some people say.
I have to figure out what causes like mass die-off, because I had a lot of worms in there. They were thriving, ate a shitload of stuff, and then the ones that I see now are like, they're good size, but there's just not many of them. And I don't know what happened.
There could be plenty of reasons. A lot of times, if their environment isn't ideal, they go looking for others, and you don't notice it, and they've all escaped out the top or out the bottom or something. In my case, it was extreme heat. We got hit by a heat wave, and it was in my garage, and it just decimated. Like it just completely dried up their bedding. It was rather sad. And then I think the most often is neglect, right? Or the most often is neglect, or you forget about it, right? You think I just saw those fuckers, and then you're like, oh shit, that was a couple months ago. Like, other shit went on, like we're all of a certain age that life has kicked us in the balls enough that worm bins might not necessarily be the highest priority of the day. Yeah. I don't think you can pay bills with worms yet.
Yeah.
But
some people can. Maybe Johhny, if he was here, he'd be able to tell us about that.
yeah, he sends his apologies. He said you made one too many Ween references, unfortunately.
You did not pay into the jar enough.
You didn't pay into the jar.
That's crazy.
I want to say we recently had a buddy join Discord, Tree Cat, shout out, who is a fellow Ween fan. How disappointed I was when he made a Ween reference. I wanted to ask, did that make you happy that there's finally another goddamn Ween fan in the Discord, as high a fan as you are?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I didn't know if he was legit until, now we know he's very legit. I knew about the first day, but it just, it was pretty amazing.
Hard to believe there's
it's too bad. I was, I was going to start doing some more like Justin Timberlake videos and stuff, but now I just don't feel like it. Anyway. That's supposed to be a joke, but Johnny's not here, so he's the only one that would be laughing.
Sorry. No. I was laughing. I was just also coughing at the same time because I'm a responsible host and I have needs that I meet outside. When I mute, I have to smoke.
We can edit that out.
Rambling. We won't.
Edit that out.
Johnny's not here. That means he's going to make me edit it. And what that means is you're hearing it exactly as how it was. Just blame me. Just be like, Rev was an a-hole. He totally set me up to fail on this killer Justin Timberlake joke.
Awkward.
No, not as awkward as Johhny listening to Justin Timberlake constantly. Stoney, how have you been? Please save me. I'm trying to cough.
I'm a couple days out from harvest, and it's been a long, dry haul coming to this spot. So I am absolutely ready to have my tent harvested. I too have a small cosmic wing that ended up in the corner, but she ended up finishing out absolutely beautiful and sparkling. So ready to harvest. That's the biggest one with me growing out.
Do you have any idea what you're going next with yet, or is it far too soon?
I wouldn't say far too soon. I did. I'm pretty sure. I'm actually like almost doggone positive it's going to be the Kim Labrada. I got in on the coffee drop.
Of course you did.
Yeah, of course I had to, but I still am saving it. I know he told us to drink them as soon as they can because they're nice and fresh, but I don't know. I guess I'm still waiting for the right moment, and he's got them beautifully sealed up. So great packaging, of course, on that one. But yeah, it's cruising along, and I believe I've got I got in on the last drop from Night Owl, so I've got a couple.
What'd you get? What'd you pick up?
I got the Master Bruce and the purple popsicle.
Yes, you got strawberry purple popsicle. See, I really wanted to get on that, and that's what I would have gotten.
Yeah,
but I believe I was somewhere with Megan.
Yeah. So
and the last
it was super efficient this time too.
Yeah,
like everyone, nothing crashed. Everything made its way. So I was pretty excited about this one. But I've got the Hoodoo Mama Juju. I think is probably going to be going into this round.
Nice.
From one of the last drops. I'm a couple ahead, of course, on those. But kid missed the Valentine's one. That Bruce Banner 3 on the Blue Power. So I've got one of those in the tent right now. And it's some of the frostiest I've seen.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, so I'm still kind of up in the air. I've got a few, and then I've got my garlic butter of the gods.
Selfless promotion.
Yeah, that's going, and then it's just this perfect little bush, like so dense with giant. It's gorgeous. But I'm going to run into environmental issues with that one for sure because it's in my 2x4 and an earth box, a full-sized earth box. And
hell yeah.
it
Let
might
it go,
be-
baby.
It's gonna fill that room up pretty quickly, I will say. But yeah, I'm gonna be turning right back around on this next round because I was pulled this one out from the last one. It has not been a good couple rounds, but to be honest with you, I think the time spent in the garden this year or this round has been the big game changer. So, just
So
being
as
respectful.
Johhny always says, what was it? The best fertilizer is a gardener's shadow or some shit.
Yep.
I don't know. He
Yeah,
said
I
it so many
remember that.
times it blended together. I've forgotten.
Yeah.
I thought it was rabbit poop.
Yeah, rabbit poop would be better.
Pool pond, whatever. You know.
You know what though? Every time that we'll just shit talk Johhny. He's not here. He can't defend himself. Every time we come on lately, he's like, "Yeah, and so I bought this animal, or I have this animal." I swear to God, he's turned it into a homesteader's like wet dream.
Oh yeah, I thought he's been a wet dream for a minute.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, he's about a year and a half away from having his own steed that he rides into town.
that would be
Nice.
super funny, just with like a crossbow on his back, leather pants, and no shirt.
far
Hold
away
on,
is
I'll
And
be
grocery shopping, just to go grocery shopping.
He's not far away from drinking raw milk from the cow he has.
No, straight out
he's-
the teat,
I think
dude.
he preserves things, he cans things, he hunts, he has chickens, worm. It's just like the natural next step here is he's just drinking right from the teat.
More importantly,
Straight
he
out.
shoots fish from a boat.
Oh, that's
fun.
yeah.
Man, this guy's badass.
Yeah.
He's
It's a
Johhny.
shame he didn't want to be here. Like I said, one too many ween jokes. It's unfortunate, but you know what? I
Yeah.
don't feel that way. You're such a dear friend that I want to always have you on.
You're so
I had
good
a
with
question, and I
forgiveness.
completely. Yeah. Well, honestly, if I wasn't, I'd be a hypocrite. I've done too much dumb shit in my life to get mad at other people. But
Can
this
I
show
ask you a
isn't
question
that.
about Howling's shirt? Is that allowed?
No.
Oh, that is. I figured that was.
Howling's dessert.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? I thought that was the strawberry wolf for a sec.
No,
'cause I was...
this one's Howling's dessert, which I get shit from my 6-year-old. I was putting him to bed before this, and he's just like he gives me a hard time. He loves wolves, and I did not force him about this. I did not like this is just purely what he likes is wolves, but he really hates this shirt. And every time I wear it, he's like, "Please, why are you wearing that shirt? Because it has red eyes and it looks like." I'm like, the damn thing's eating a piece of cake. Like, how much more passive can you get in this thing? Like, he's not gonna kill you. But it's like, yeah, he hates the red letter. He's like, where did you get it? And I said, oh, a friend. And he's like, well, I think you should tell your friend that the eyes should be like a bluish purple. And he starts going into color theory with me, trying to explain what this color would be like. And I was like, okay, I'll pass that along, no problem.
Maybe on the next round. Maybe
Yeah.
on F2.
That's it. The different personalities that come out in the phenos, it changes the eye color. Depending
There you go,
on what it's
dude.
like. Yeah, there you go.
Maybe he's on to something.
Yeah. Genius.
I was just curious because with the strawberry wolf I was growing, it kind of reminded me how it is. At first, I thought it was stunted, but I think it's just like totally taking its time, and it's like just now kicking off at 45 days. I was wondering if like anyone else had grown that, or if it's just kind of like a fluke, or if
I
anyone
tried
seen anything
growing
like
it.
that.
I didn't have good luck studying those seeds. So I wish I could have. Is it growing more wide and short than it is tall?
It just started like doing vertical growth like last week.
Okay.
In fact, my last picture that was up there, it's like actually grown 2 inches in the last like 2 days. So it is
Don't be
actually now
surprised.
just starting to stretch. I'm
Kind
super
of reminds
excited.
me what you're describing. It's Dog Snacks by Alabrije. It grew. It wanted to take its time getting height. Like it ended up during stretch. It stretched out kind of wide, and it just would not get height to her whatsoever. And it's just kind of opened up. So I'm interested to see if. So you said you're on day 40 something.
45.
45.
45. So
See, and wouldn't that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember my auto.
no, dude,
Timeline here.
37
Yeah.
days. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, 37? Okay.
Unacceptable. Can you believe that he came
Unacceptable.
onto this podcast and lied to us?
Hold on to your seats with anything from Big Green Guy, because
Yeah.
it will take off.
Yeah, that's what
It
I'm
will
thinking.
take
Like
off.
you're 37. I'm like, that's a week
Mm-hmm.
into
I feel
what
like my
the
forgetful wedding did
transition
that
is.
too. Actually, it took like it
What
was on
did
a
you
real
just call it?
slow journey.
Yep. And then as soon as
Forgetful.
What was that plant? What was that plant called there, Charles?
Was it forgetful?
Yeah.
Did I call it
Forgetful wedding.
forgetful?
Yeah, you
Oh
did.
man.
I think that's what
And that's it. So that's reminding me that was Cosmic Puppy and Odin. Since like there is a certain like BGG has his style when it comes to some of those plants, and they stay kind of squat, but they just get thick, and like just the things that grow, it's awesome. But it is definitely a certain morphology, I think it is, of a
Yeah, I think
of
he
a
likes
plant
to
that
get
he
like
has.
the side branching. I have a couple side branches on the wedding OG that are taller than the main, and I didn't do anything except leaf
That
tuck.
happened to Cosmic Puppy too. It kind of shot out and it was just like, fuck you, I'm on my way. You ain't stopping me. And it just
It works perfectly for the light spread, right? Like
it didn't have to, I have to say, like there when he has plants selected like that, they don't require much training at all. They just kind of naturally blossom and open up like almost like a flower, and they're yeah.
My forgetful wedding filled a 2x4.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of with this one is like, because I'm in the spot, and I don't remember what day I'm at, but it's younger than yours, Chuck, and I'm looking at this thing, and I think I even posted earlier this week on like the 2-day growth was probably 3.5 inches, and the whole thing just went. It just bushed. It wasn't just like there was like, oh, it got a little like, it just literally thickened out like a giant bush. And I'm like, that's why I'm already starting to figure out a backup plan to move it into the big tent to try and finish it off and like do some equations to see if it'll work and the conditions will work. But because I got a feeling it's gonna blow up. I mean, its stem is even at this age, like if you took a big lighter and made it completely round at that size, it's huge. So hold on tight, because it will explode in the next couple to few weeks. I'll bet you.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
We were speaking of Howling's shirt a little while back. He's always very well branded. Speaking of how well branded he is, how is his testers doing? Each of his super labeled tent.
Oh, my testers? They're going good.
You are Howling.
I am Howling today. No, they're doing good. It's nice to be able to test photos. Like I haven't ran those for someone yet, so I get to be in the driver's seat a little bit, and they're not pulling me pulling me along. So it's kind of nice with those night owl testers. It's Tester C. I think there's a couple other people. It seems like Tester C was like the neglected group for some reason. There's not as many people publishing about that one. But anyways, they're going good. They're day 5 now, starting to try to grow their second set of leaves. So they're just on their way. They haven't been a fuss. They sprouted super quick. And then I got the tangy rainbows from Alabrije that I just started. This is going to be a shit show. I changed so many things on this one. So he's usually putting the chaos onto me as like, oh yeah, go 3 of them in a fucking tent. Yeah, okay, thanks. So this time I'm throwing variables at it. So I was on my 3rd run of soil in that bed, so I changed to new soil. So not even build a soil anymore. I'm doing the Kiss Organics water only, which feels a little different. It's like kinetic sand almost than the really chunky stuff that Build a Soil is. So I don't know. We'll see what I feel about this one. But I changed that. I'm adding booster bar lights to that tent. And so, yeah, there's a few things, curveballs throwing at Tangy Rainbows, which is, there's like, I don't know how many phenos, but there's a lot of phenos people are testing to find out which pheno is the best washer. That's the whole goal of this, is a lot real good terps and is a good washer. And I think one of the parents was from Mr. Autogrow, I think, the rainbow guava. So that's where, like, right now he's calling it Tangy Rainbows, and I think it has a different name once a pheno is selected.
Right on.
So that's what we're doing right now. So it's gonna be awesome. And then
Howling's sponsored tent on Alabrije's sponsored podcast. Did you hear that, Jay saying Alabrije?
No. Sorry, Alabrije. We got Night Owl coming in too with a little sponsor spot there. So a little sponsor competition. We're gonna have to raise the rates here.
Well, according to Johhny, we have to pay for the somehow.
Shit. Oh, I fucked us.
Fucking
sorry.
raise rates.
Well, we got to send that check
Every
out.
time
Sorry.
you say Alabrije genetics, it costs like $7.50.
Yeah, that's according to Johhny. This is why I don't let him do any more deals. But in fact, actually, I will be honest. That's why he's not here. He's suspended for financial crimes against YAG.
Nice.
But yeah, so the time has come for me to ask a super poignant, well-researched question of all the guests on the circle. Ah, shit, it's February. What's in February?
February?
No, we don't date the podcast. This is we're recording this sometime in the summer of 2024.
I never looked so young.
Nice. You look fantastic. I always say that. Okay, we're gonna go with shit. I'll just ask a question before I ask that question. Who here is joining along in the hot sauce pepper growing?
Hell yeah.
Content. We've got one judge, Stoney. Howling's joining. Chuck, are you gonna grow any outdoor peppers?
I didn't know about this until just now. So
really? Are you Johhny?
Well.
Are you serious?
I didn't know. Are these autoflowers or are these photo peppers?
That's funny.
Is this real?
Yes.
So you just like pick a pepper?
No, we're doing like a hot sauce grow peppers. Like there's a whole channel in the Discord that you're very active in.
So I gotta grow peppers and make the hot sauce?
If you want. Nobody has to do anything but die and pay taxes.
Good. That sounds pretty good. I'm gonna do that because we grow peppers all the time, but then we don't do anything with them. We just freeze them for like the next year, and then we throw them away eventually.
See, this was made for you.
Nice.
I was the same way. I was just growing peppers, and I just lacto fermented one, and it was delicious. But now we're going because we had Sam Sahaus on, and him, Stoney, and Alabrije are going to judge.
This is rough.
It goes over well. I'm glad the messaging on this has been so good that even
I'm a little confused because
I
don't know how with the judges, like you have Alabrije that I think has stated his love for fermented hot sauces, and I think Sam Saus does vinegar based ones. So I haven't found we're gonna have to quiz him on one of these shows about.
Well, dude, don't worry about that. Quite literally, one of the judges is on the payroll. There is no way to go wrong.
There's going to be pandering. There's going to be people just making their sauce for the judge only, right?
There is not enough butter in this sauce.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm thinking more just certain packages show up at certain people's houses, and it's just like, here's some hot sauce. Don't let us down.
Do you know how long we've been doing grow-togethers, and we've done the same thing, and none of us have won? So you know what? It ain't fucking working.
I make that joke after every time someone wins something in our Discord. I'm like, I've never won. And it's not a joke. I enter every competition and I've not won shit. I fucking started the Discord. I can't get shit in it, man. The only thing I've ever won in any of this stuff, and I really don't care, it's fine, but the only thing I've won is through Chuck. Chuck entered into a competition, and by him mentioning me, I won.
Nice.
Yeah, It was what was that?
SLF 100, baby.
That's right, baby. Hell yeah. I'm using that bottle now.
Bacteria. I use that all up.
Yeah. Second time. Last time you moved away.
I just actually got some more of like I told someone to buy it and then they ended up not using it and they gave it to me, so I kind of won that too.
Do you just keep recommending things like, hey man, you should buy a new car?
Yeah, you should get a new Cadillac Escalade. Those things look okay.
Those things look cool. Oh, that's awesome.
I don't like this Escalade. You can have it.
Yeah, you can have it. It's garbage. All right, I finally got a question. That's a lie, but I do say as spring is coming in, that's right, I'm going spring. It's close enough. Is anyone got anything new that they're excited to plant? It'll tie into the peppers slightly. Howling.
Well, yeah, I think I've never grown a hot pepper before.
Oh, hell
So
yeah. What are
all
you
these-
growing then?
I mean, like, I've grown like bell peppers, but I've never grown like a hot pepper, like a habanero or a jalapeno or anything like that. Like, yeah, so this is entirely new this spring for me.
Right on. Any particular peppers that you're excited about?
The lemon drop.
Me too. Dude. That's,
all of them other than the habanada or whatever. It's the habanero without spice, basically.
Yeah.
Besides that one, the other ones are all citrus forward, which I've learned I really like because the hot sauces from Sam, a lot of them have citrus based, or at least in the name. And then like some of the descriptions I saw, like there is a citrus component to it. And I really, really like that. So
that's awesome.
I'm super excited to run those, like the lemon, the mango, and I think I forget what the third one was, but it's some citrus forward pepper.
Yeah, we get a lot of the same peppers to grow. I'm very excited. I'm similar. Stoney, do you have any unique flowers this year? I know you went big last year.
I haven't gotten into my seed order yet, so I guess if anything, I'm pretty pumped to sit down with Baker Creek Seeds and see what they've got in line for some really cool whacked out flowers from this year. So I have not gotten my flower order together yet. But
okay, well,
definitely
when it comes in.
I will say though that you can almost guarantee that I'll be growing sunflowers.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
When we get to me, I specifically kind of chose this question so you and I could have a little sunflower talk at the end. Because I'm a selfish man. Okay. Charles.
Yes, sir.
How about you, my friend?
So is pesto a pepper? I was thinking about.
Close enough.
Okay, but real talk. This year, I'm gonna get my Rieno pepper to grow.
Oh hell yeah!
Last year, we put it in between our squash plant and an indeterminate tomato plant, so it literally got
shaded.
Well, yeah, just sunned out. It didn't get any sun because these things grew right over it. And it was kind of sad. So this year I'm gonna put them in the front. I'm gonna have like all our peppers in our front. We just have 2 like beds along the side of the house. So it'll be peppers, and then I'm gonna do the determinate tomatoes this year. I know that's way more than you asked, but we'll just say that's chili, guys.
Please always answer these questions. You're on a podcast to talk, my friend. Do you ever grow tomatillos?
No, but I only like the salsa verde, so that might be on my list of things to do.
Yeah, I have not grown it successfully, but I also use it in almost all of my salsas that I like. Anyhow.
Nice.
I will go in. Thanks for asking, Stoney. But along with all the peppers of Howling, I went sunflowers. I just got in my sunflower order. The 2 that I'm most excited about, and probably the 2 that I'll have somewhat success with, knowing me. But I got the Ring of Fire variety. Yeah. And I'm very excited because it's the first time I'm growing a multi-branch and multi-head.
They're
in a
fun,
container.
Dude.
Yes, you talked me into it last year, and some of your pictures blew me away. And then I'm doing the Hopi Black.
That's a beautiful one, dude.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. Mm-hmm. I have no intention of doing anything with the dye or even creating the dye, but anything other than, because for the last 2 years I've grown mammoths, and that was the only variety.
They're fun.
They are fun,
but then you get into the colors.
Yes.
Then you get into the
Ring of Fire,
colors,
particularly. After seeing some of the ones that you grew last year, and you expressed so much, like you love the multi-heads, which was just couldn't turn that down.
The more you snip them, the more they grow back, dude. It's so
crazy.
Cool. You go out there like every day, you just pop like 5, 6, 7 of them off. Come back
because you had Mexican sunflowers last year, so and that's I really wanted some of that, but the Ring of Fire just looks so pretty that I kind of
there's so many to choose from. Yeah.
Soon
to be, my friend, soon to be.
Well, perfect, man. I appreciate the sunflower talk. Like two manly supermen. I'm gonna go hunting shortly after this. I'm just kidding. Chuck, thank you for joining us. We will
Thanks,
have
man.
you on next time with Johhny, so it's not such a terribly boring episode. I apologize.
These guys
I
are
tried
okay. Just another.
What's funny is on my
animated
screen you're pointing to
videos.
nothing, and also it's an
Oh.
audio podcast. No. I appreciate you always. You're one of my dear friends. I can't thank you enough for giving us your time. Do you have anything to plug?
Anything to plug? Well, I did make a pin recently.
Ooh,
I got
shit.
about 20 of those left. I could plug that.
Well, you did.
Okay. So come see me. Hit me up. I got one right here. Can I show it?
Hell's yeah,
of
you
course
can.
you can.
Yeah.
Why are you asking? There you go.
See this?
That's awesome.
If you like Ween or Primus, you might like this pin. Anyway, that's not
Well-
weed related, but it's Ween related.
Close enough.
Close enough. You're a
And I
friend.
know
of me,
Johhny
mine.
will love that. Johhny is probably gonna.
That jar
Now,
better be
unfortunately,
full.
Over
I
the
don't
moon.
quite think we reach all of the 10 Ween fans. Fuck, I fucked
Yes.
that up so bad. But
I
oh,
get
well.
the joke.
Yeah, it's okay. It worked. Stoney,
Yes, sir.
what do you have to plug?
Alabrie, hell of a cup of coffee, hell of a t-shirt, great drop. And thank you for the Kim Labrada. It was absolutely incredible.
Look at
Very
that shirt.
gracious, very gracious to have it. So all sorts of great new stickers in this round too. So love
Howling?
to see more.
Well, he stole my coffee one. That is absolutely delicious. But I will thank also Alabrije for doing this Tangy Rainbows project, which I hear is going to be the broadest of his all broads released. So thank you for that one.
At this rate, that's all he releases. Yeah, that's it. I ain't got shit, homeboys. Thank you guys again for listening. Join us next time when anyone else leads. Yay! Adios,
Later,
guys.
people.
Have a great night.